I know last week we were talking about the focus and how to address having better focus and utilizing focus in the proper perspective. How did everybody do this week with their focus game?
I was focused.
Yes, Kim.
Sis?
Yes.
Okay, was that you?
I don't know who that was.
Okay, yeah, it was like people. I just heard stuff.
I heard too.
I thought I was going through the sixth sense for a second. I'm like,
And Nikki wasn't moving her mouth when it happened, so I was like,
and I know it was a female voice, and I'm sitting there, I'm like,
yes.
All right, that's definitely not Sean, and it's sure not me. It's not you, it's not Nikki. Somebody, hey, well, we got somebody eavesdropping. Maybe they have something to say too. So I appreciate it. You know, whoever you were contributing. We like contributions. So I guess we'll start with Miss Nikki and let her tell us how her focus week went. How did you do with focus this week, Miss Nikki?
Actually, focus was really good. I worked with Andre this week briefly. We had a phone consult. You know, I work with him every other week, and so we just came up with some really, really amazing, just a whole nother focal point for hosts. But as far as focus, I'm working now. So this is tax season, so I'm focused. That's my primary focus. That's where all my energy is focused on. I mean, it was great that I could step outside of that because I'm so used to being in this certain realm this time of year where I don't focus on anything else but that. I mean, I literally dream. I know this is dream taxes. I literally do. And so, so in my sleep, I'm dreaming about what I got to do, for the next day. So I think that's ultimate focus. But that's just where my focus is. So I really don't go outside of that, for me to take my focus off of that and then, try to focus on other things. I've been doing this for so long. So I just don't know how to split my time, between other things from doing that. So, as far as focus on work, that's what my primary focus has been. But it's been good focus. It's been very productive focus.
Okay, good. So it sounds like you had a good week with focus. You've been
I did.
focusing. Awesome. I see my sis now. Sis is on camera. There she go.
I had to take the rollers out.
I know that's right.
That's one thing about FaceTime, right, Lisa?
Yes.
Look, women got to prep. Y'all just show up.
Hey, here goes Sean with the effects. Here you go. All right. Well, I guess we'll let Sean go. How was your week with focus, brother? Tell us about how your week went, and then Sis will bring the house down and close that out when we go into this week's talk.
Coming out of Millionaire Mind, we just had a very good focus week. Doing all trying to do all that they told us to do, and we did a good job staying on top of stuff, doing our affirmations, and incorporating the AF process into our daily routine. Really was helpful to keep us on focus and staying in the moment, staying focused, and just improve the general quality of the week. So we're going to continue on that note because it works. Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right.
That's awesome. Now, Ms. Lisa?
Well, I have really been focusing on AMP, starting our day that way. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I can say that for our 12 years of being together, one of the things that I've wanted to do is have some type of a spiritual practice that we do together. and having AMP that just works. And he likes it. He incorporates his meditation, and I meditate, but I do a little bit different sometimes. But prayer and just praying together has been an awesome experience.
Oh yes, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. I love it. Look at that smile. That's good stuff right there. Okay. Just to touch on that, you know, they say the family that prays together stays together. You know, the little cliche that they always talk about. I believe that.
Yes,
However, in addition to that, though, I believe the family that meditates together elevates together.
I like that.
You all are taking the time to commune with God together and get messages and get your steps directed, so you all can be in the same space and be on the same accord. So I definitely believe that really even further enhances the relationship. So wonderful. All right. Y'all got me smiling now. Not that I'm not always smiling, but I'm just all right. So tonight, I figured we would kind of talk about, you know, the process of decisions and how decisions really affect our lives. And really, our life is really about decisions. That's really what controls how successful, how happy, how sad, our relationships, how we relate, how we communicate, are all basically decisions. And how these decisions affect not only the world that we live in, but how the world affects us as well. Because how we receive information is really, excuse me, how we receive the information is really the key to everything. Because perspective gives you whether you feel something is dangerous, whether you feel something is good. You know, it carries emotion in you, which will lead you to a different decision. Today we'll just address decisions, though, and how decisions play a major role in our lives. The first thing is that most of us don't have a very good decision-making process. Most of us don't even focus on the decisions that we're making. For most people, their decision is no decision. they go with the flow. They do whatever seems to be the fad. It's the easiest thing to fall into the trap of doing what everyone else is doing because, hey, that's what everybody else is doing. Right. But that in essence is it's still you making a decision, but it's almost like a pre-programmed decision, like a robotic response. Okay, this is what everybody else is doing, so I'll do that. Now, if we really want to shape the way our lives carry out, shape our destinies, and create the life that we really want to live, we have to begin to truly make a decision and truly take control of that. You know, one of my favorite speakers, you know, and probably everybody's, Tony Robbins, always said that you never leave the scene of a decision without taking an action to its fruition. So, and that's true because you haven't really made a decision until you decide to do something. If you've taken no action, you really haven't made a decision. You're still having those thoughts. So ultimately, I want to look at how we are making decisions and how we can look at the process and begin to make better decisions so that we can live the life that we want to live. So I know everybody here probably feels that we do have control over our lives somewhat, or do we have anybody here that just feels like destiny is destiny and it's going to happen? Is anybody of that thought process? Okay, no.
It's okay.
I mean, everybody was like, okay.
We gotta understand.
Crickets.
Just.
All right, go ahead, Sean. Sean's saying something. Go ahead, brother.
I think that destiny is true, but I'm not. I used to see this destiny as kind of made it complete. I was kind of resigned to it, like it's nothing I can do about it. It's coming, you know. But now I see it as an opportunity more so than um, a resignation to what's going to happen. Because I believe that all good things are basically going to happen in my favor. So I believe that's my destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So I live it to a more positive. It's coming from a place of power instead of resignation. And I used to always come from that, like, you know, well, it's destiny. Whatever's going to happen, and I can't really do. It was a powerless place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once I changed my mind about what the universe had in store and God had in store for me, which is all good.
Mm-hmm.
I decide, you know, I get to a stronger place where it's going to be okay regardless. You know, I will still take action, declare, and be a creator of my destiny, or co-creator of my destiny. You know, so I like being in that position. I like being it's a better way to operate in the world. And I'm not you don't get into victimization. That's my take on destiny.
Oh, cool. Awesome. That's a great take. I mean, you know, the fact that I like the words you used, that was transformational, like a transformational vocabulary usage there, because like you said, you're not resigning to that everything is preordained to happen in a certain manner, because God gave us free will. So it's kind of hard to say that, all right, everything is just happening according to this one plan. That's not true. Otherwise, we wouldn't have free will. I mean, why would we have the opportunity to make choices? You know, because if it was that way, and if it was meant to be that way, then it would be. So that's a great take. Sis, go ahead. What I see you ready to go, and Miss Nikki, we coming to you next.
I'm in agreement with what he's saying. I also believe that for every action there's a reaction, and there are multiple reactions that could happen. You know, one choice, all four of us can make the same choice, but the outcomes are going to be very different due to our background, our experience, and so it's not singular. And I mean, there are talks. Sometimes people talk about multiple universes and everything's happening. Every possibility has already happened. So it's just a matter of, for you, where you're at in making that choice. You're not making. There's no island. You know, like, oh, it's only whatever I decide. Sometimes your decisions mixed with other people's decisions come out different outcomes. And it's kind of like a garden with your thoughts and your mind also, and how you look at things. So you have to see if your decision, when you're making these decisions, are they always for the highest good, or are they just you thinking about you? Because all your decisions don't just affect you.
Right.
In most cases, they don't just affect you.
Right.
Very true. Very true. That it's been said that for every decision you make, it affects at least 7 parts of your life. You know, directly or indirectly. So every decision does create a ripple effect, as they say in the universe. So I'm in agreement with you. This is for me. Well, I'll reserve my opinion. I want to get everybody's feedback, and then I'll say what I'm feeling. Miss Nikki, I'm so proud of you. Can we give Sean, please turn on the applause for Nikki, because she is not in the corner tonight. She is dead center in the camera. We're not trying to find her. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say that.
But we're missing somebody. We're missing somebody. Where is he at?
Larry.
Yes, Larry. Where is he at?
Yeah, he just had 2 wisdom teeth pulled, so he's in the chipmunk mode right now, and he's in a lot of pain. So
sending them light and love.
I will. Oh, you waiting for me? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely agree with what everyone has said, and I want to piggyback by saying, you know, I believe that all of our lives are predestined. God, you know, knows the end from the beginning and beginning from end. So therefore, it's up to us to get to where he wants us to be. And again, it's, you know, there's a roadmap plan for us, but our decisions determine how we're going to get there and how long it's going to take us to get there. You know, if we, you know, have bad decision making process or no decision making process, it's going to take us a lot longer to get where he's trying to get us. But however, I do believe that every step we take, you know, is still a planned step. It may not have been the easiest route to get where he wants us to get to, but he knew we were going to go that route. And it's all about growing. It's all about molding, you know, in any step, whether it's a bad step or we think that this is something that's, you know, that has torn our life apart, and it still has molded us. It still has made us who we are. So all of this is part of the journey to get us to our destiny.
Okay. All right. I like that. The only thing I would add to that is well, I'm not going to add. That is a great.
Please do, please.
No, that is your take. I will just give my take, and here's my perspective on that. I believe that there are things that we are created to do. Now, a lot of us, some of us don't really live our true full potential, and I think people mix potential and destiny up, because I think that there's a plan when we are made, but not all of us get to live our purpose. And when we don't live our purpose, those dreams and hopes and everything and the gifts and the talents that we were given, they die with us because we didn't take and make the choices necessary to be able to add that value to the world the way we needed it to. So I believe that there is greatness within all of us.
Absolutely.
You know, we all have the capacity for greatness, I believe. I don't believe that we all have the capacity for wealth per se, or well, not wealth. I'm sorry, fame. We may not all get to be famous, but we can be wealthy because that's all determined in how you view wealth. What is wealth to you? For some people, wealth is having enough money to take care of their family, and their family is all together and happy. They think of it as community. Those people, you can't tell those people that they're poor. They don't have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, but they are very happy because of the community that they have built, and the family and the union that they share with the people that are around them. So, as far as, you know, the decisions and destiny, I believe that you create the exact level or the exact amount of success and importance that you feel in this world. So that's just my opinion. You know, destiny is there. We are created for a purpose, but we all don't get to live that purpose, I would say. So now what we're gonna talk about a little bit is, you know, how we even get to the process of the decisions, you know, because again, most people just go with the flow, and as they're going with the flow, they wonder why they feel so out of control in their life, because they're like, hey, I'm doing everything right. No, you're doing everything that everybody else is doing. That doesn't mean it's right. I mean, you know, just because most people are doing it, I mean, and I'm not one to quote a lot of scripture, especially on talks like this, but you know, it says Satan deceives the whole world. So if most of the world is doing it, you're going wrong anyway. So you kind of buying a bag of goods that you got sold. So the first thing we have to do is realize that we do have a choice, and that we have the power to create the life that we want to have, the life that we were created to have. So the first step in doing that is looking at how you are formulating the decisions. Why do you do what you do? What makes you make the decisions that you are making? And those are all comprised of, Lisa, my sister touched on it a little earlier, is our experiences are the first thing, you know, because we kind of model what we've seen. And if we've seen certain things and had various experiences and we've grown up around certain environments, then we react a certain way to things that happen to us. So when we take that perception and it creates that emotion that we go and then we react, we do something. So, I mean, just for example, I mean, you know, if you grew up where I grew up, the first time somebody look at you too long, first thing you're thinking is, okay, they're trying to do something to me. I mean, that's just what we think. Like, okay, why they keep staring at me? Why you all in my face? And I mean, they may have never seen somebody that looks like you. You may look like somebody that they know.
Right.
We don't know, but our initial thought process is, why are they staring at me? What is up? And then you go ask them, so what's up? And you automatically created a response in them because that's aggressive. That's not a gentle way to approach somebody. You know, what's up? Right. So we create things within ourselves that kind of lead us down a path that sometimes, just because of the pre-programmed or the experiences that we've already had, create more difficult situations. I won't say bad situations, more difficult situations than they need to be. And however, though, those experiences usually are there because we need to learn a lesson at that point. I believe that pain isn't negative, is necessary. We need to learn a lesson. So the reason that we go through those things and that we have to make mistakes is that we have to be able to grow, because if we do everything right from day one, then we aren't going to grow, because we're going to feel like we already know, and everything we do is right anyway. So I'll just open up the floor to see, get some opinions on how you feel about how you are making your decisions, or what's guiding you all's decisions right now. And we can have a bit of a discussion on it if you guys are open to that. So,
can I start?
Oh yes, you can start. I love it.
Okay. I mean, I want to just start by saying, you know, I agree with what you said. You know, a lot of times our environment does have, you know, a way of playing into and how we were brought up. You know, background does have a way in playing into how we, you know, make decisions and react to things. You know, and a lot of times we react based on emotion. You know, and I can say, especially women, you know, we're emotional creatures. So, you know, we a lot of times react based on emotions. I'm sorry. And I think for me now, as I've gotten older and as I've made a lot of not so good decisions, I mean, I think right now my decision making process starts with prayer. You know, because a lot of times if I make a decision based on a situation, you know, immediately it may be an impulse decision, you know, and I may not have all the information to make an informed decision or make the best decision for me. So a lot of times it's like, okay, let me just step back from a second, you know, and you know, maybe like, you know, I want to purchase something, and I might be an impulse purchaser, like I see it, I want it. But now I realize, okay, maybe I need to step back and take a minute. And then if I still have the same feeling about it, then I may purchase it, or whatever the situation may be. I find that it sometimes is good for me just to step out and then come back to it and then make a decision, you know, not based, because a lot of times it's just based on emotions. It's based on, you know, the way I feel, you know, how the day went. You know, just like when you are speaking with someone and maybe they've had a bad day, and they come off on you wrong. You know, the natural reaction is to sometimes is to jump off as well. But then also too, you know, that at that moment it's really not even about you. It's about something that they went through. And so, you know, again, I think, at least for me, you know, just step back a minute and just take it in, and then approach it when, you know, I guess maybe with a clear head, and depending on what it is, you know, something maybe that I have more time to, something really important, I realize, let me just step back and pray about it, and you know, and see what God says. You know, I know He knows best. Apparently I ain't been doing it right all this time. I need a bigger and a more divine helper on this. So that's just, you know.
Okay, that's good, sis. That's good, Nikki. I would add though, just a little perspective for you to even process, just to put in there. Um, Women are not just emotional creatures. We all are emotional creatures. I'm just being honest. As human beings, we are emotional, and a lot of times it's put on women as being emotional,
Yeah.
but emotions are what usually drive decision anyway, whether it's male or female. Uh, it's not selective in picking like just women are. So we all, the problem is that most of us do live in reaction, and that's the problem. Most of us don't live in action. Most of us aren't consciously aware and in control of our emotions. So that is the challenge for us as human beings, is being able to control that, because emotion ultimately is what guides it anyway. So I just wanted to add that for you. Just, I didn't want to leave the sisters out there, for any other sisters that are listening. I got my two sisters on the line with me here, but it's not just the sisters that are emotional. Men actually, even though very few of us will admit it, are way more emotional than women.
Really?
All you have to do, honestly, is mess with a woman that a man loves, mess with their children, mess with their money, and see whether you get an emotion out of it. I'm just saying, we are highly emotional, though we try to act like everything is logical. But when someone takes an action, men usually react. So I can't leave that on the sisters, because we are extremely emotional. So I just wanted to add that. Now, I'll go to my sis. She over there smiling. She got something to say. She ready to drop something. I see that. So Lisa Maya, go ahead.
Look like she on mute.
Yeah, she is. She was just waiting.
Oh, okay.
I was on mute. I need to take it off. But one of the things that I use as a spiritual practice for guiding me in my thought practice, we call it, it's been called like the five righteous brothers. And it begins with right thinking, right feelings, right words, right actions, and reactions. And a lot of times when you're looking at something that may have gone awry or sour, whatever you want to call it, you could go back to, for me, I can go back to those five. I'm like, okay, where did it go awry? And my thought may be good, but somewhere around my feelings started to get a little shaky. And so when the words came out, which you can't take back once they come out, that may have been something. Or a good one for me is how I react, because I was being reactive instead of pausing. And being somebody, I grew up and I was very impulsive. I was a risk taker. I'd walk around. I was born and raised in New York City, so I'd walk around, be 16 years old, walking down the city, daring somebody to bother me. Don't mess with me. So it was nothing for me to do things that were like, okay, I'm big and bad enough to do it. But now, as a 46-year-old woman who's a wife and a mother, I pause more. I have more at risk. That if I begin to have the wrong actions or the wrong words, it's not just affecting me. It affects Sean. It affects my daughter. And I gave Sean a compliment the other day about how he's affected my life, because he's this cool, laid back dude, and because of that, after being with him like 12 years, it's caused me to slow down, to not be so reactive, and pause instead of just jumping out there. Now, of course, I go to the store for one thing and I'm still buying 10 items that I didn't have planned. But I mean, my life can speak for itself as far as the fruit in general. A general, like, okay, it's calm. You can see the peace. You can see how, just looking at it, how it flows. So, like I said, going back to, I call it the five righteous brothers: right thinking, right feelings, right words, right actions, and right reactions.
All right, that was great. I like that. I like that I like that concept. That's a great concept, and that's a great um, tool to utilize in order to keep yourself in line. That is awesome because that is actually, because the thought process really goes, the actual thought, or when they talk about the full decision making process, how things really actually come to fruition in life. It starts with focus, and then your focus, what you focus on expands, and that leads to your perception, and then your perception leads to an emotion. Your emotion then drives you to a decision, and your decisions ultimately give you your action. Once you make a decision, you then take an action. So that is a great manifestation thing, sis, that you put together there. That is awesome. Um, I definitely agree with you that you have to look at, if we can master our emotions, you actually have most of the mastery over your life, truthfully. Because the problem is that we are so emotional that it does create issues for us. So excellent points, and I will come back. I don't want to talk too much before I let Brother Sean get in there. So Brother Sean, go ahead. What's the feeling?
Well, for me, I think I learned a lot about, like, okay, how we come about our decisions. Because like last week, we learned that the your mind's job is to make sure, try to protect you and make sure nothing really changes in your life. And so that's its primary objective. So so it's always going to give you, along with its thoughts, the emotions that come along with it that make those thoughts more intensified and amplified. Okay, so to me, I'm learning how to turn down the volume on the emotions, really understand the genesis of what my thought system is trying to get me to do, which is save me or protect me or stop me from doing anything particularly different from what I've been doing. So once I understand that, now I can incorporate new thoughts and new thought patterns by just turning down the volume of my mind, my pre-programmed mind that I really didn't have a lot to do with, and it's okay. Half the stuff I know from age 0 to 18 is stuff people told me and it was for my protection. You know what I mean? And so it has its place, and it's valuable, but also it's kind of a double-edged sword in terms of helping you to break through certain things. So once I recognize that, now I can think clearly and think outside of the box and actually have an original thought and recognize, oh, okay, this is actually an original thought. It doesn't feel particularly familiar to me, this way of thinking. And when I know I'm on that track, I'm like, okay, I think I'm on the right track when I'm not going into my default mind and the default programming that I came with. So I learned that last week at the Millionaire Mind, just how to recognize what your mind is trying to do and to turn down the volume and say, thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving me that fear thought, or thank you for giving me that thought of disempowerment, because you want to keep me safe. I understand. Thank you, but no, and that enables me to think on a whole nother level of possibility and declaration and understanding that, okay, I have the power to create. Now I'm creating my reality as opposed to living off the videotape of my past. Say, oh, that happened then, so it's going to happen now. You living off the past at that point instead of creating new realities. So it's a very fine distinction, but I think it's the difference between really living a life of possibility and being in the moment and in the now. If you're not living off the videotape, you're definitely firmly in the now, right now, and creating as you go, using your experience as a basis, but not understanding. Okay, that's what happened then, and I will put that into my little checkbook to remember. But I'm not going to make a full decision based on that. So it's helpful. You know, it's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but it's just having an awareness.
Right.
Awareness that, oh, okay, this is what my mind's trying to do. You know, so just make better decisions that way.
That's true, brother. That's true. I agree with you. You know, I think about, you know, how really when we talk about the mind, we're referring to the brain, and your brain's job is to protect you as well as to operate all organs and stuff in your body. I mean, but other than that, it really wants to keep you safe, and which is why a lot of times it uses previous experiences as a measuring stick so that you can avoid danger. You know, as we talked about a little last week, I think I said it last week, where I was saying that fear we know isn't real. Now, I'm not saying that danger is very real. There are things that can happen to you, but fear is not real. Fear is just us trying to keep ourselves safe from something we think may happen if we do something. But the total being in control of that and being able to control what you focus on, as we were talking about last week, opens the realm of possibility anyway, because that's where possibility stems from, is your thought process. And when you start to focus on new things and different things that you have not yet done, it begins to allow you to re-energize yourself, because a lot of us are pretty much, you know, level on one level. We don't play on level 10 every day. Let's just say that. A lot of us don't. And even those of us that try our best to play on level 10 every day, some days you're at 8. So you need that extra push, and you need to be able to stop yourself, like Sean was saying, and just say, hey, look, my biography does not equal my destiny. Because unless I live there, the past, I mean, if you live in the past, then you're going to get exactly what you got in the past. Right. If that is all you're focused on, then you're going to bring more of that to you. So the fact of being able to shift that focus and shift that energy into something that you have not yet done, or something that you want to do, create that compelling future for yourself, is where come into your life. That's where you begin to gain the power that we all are looking for to create the life we want and live our dreams the way we wish to. So I definitely can agree with that. Sis, you look like you had something. You look like you had something to say, sis. I don't know if I was reading wrong or something, but you just listening. Okay, you got something to say? Oh, okay, all right. Go ahead, sis. I'm waiting on you.
Oh, I was just saying, I had to unmute myself. I was just saying, I'm listening. I'm in agreement.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Okay, I didn't know if you had something to say. All right. Now the next step with our decisions is to really talk about what Nikki brought up, is the emotional part. And Sean addressed it a little bit. We kind of talked around it. But emotion is the ultimate force of life. It is what the true driving force behind almost everything we do. It's due to an emotional stimulus that's happening within our body. Albeit whether we're getting whether it's a good emotion or a bad emotion. We have over 12,000 emotions, and honestly, most people can't tell you but about 6 or 7, because we are living in that limited of a space within our heads, because those are the only words we've heard to describe what it is we're feeling. So if we can gain control over that and start to direct our emotions versus our emotions directing us, we gain a power over our life that is unfathomable. That is how people create Googles, Googles, and listen to me, Googles. I couldn't even say it. Listen to me, Googles. Hey, I call myself on my stuff. I laugh at everybody else. I'm gonna laugh at me too. But that's how you create a Google. That is how you create an Apple. Where you just make a decision where something isn't, where you see a need and you know that you want to create something that is not there. You know, one of the funniest jokes I ever heard was Eddie Griffin, when he was first starting in comedy. He had an HBO special, and he was talking about Alexander Graham Bell. And he said, you know, he was like, you know, in order to be a genius, you have to be willing to be viewed as crazy. Just think about everything that we have, and when they created it, what everybody had to be telling them. He said, think about how high or messed up Alexander Graham Bell had to be sitting there with his boys talking about something. I want to talk to somebody that ain't even here. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that. That's all I'm going to say. But it's true to, in essence, in order to really sit there and say you want to talk to somebody, in that day and age, everything was done by telegram. They were sending stuff on the Pony Express, so it was taking 3 and 4 days for people to get a message that they would need right away. So for him to sit there and say, no, I want to be able to pick up something and talk to my buddy that lives 50 miles from here. I was waiting on him. I was waiting on him.
Sorry.
Hey, he hadn't made his appearance yet. I was worried.
And another thing, Gerald, is, you know, what he was doing was very disruptive to the status quo. The guy who owned all the horses and all the old ways of doing things, you have to remember they had a vested interest in that particular thing remaining the same.
Oh, that's Larry.
You know what I mean?
What is that?
You know,
Rico and Rick.
his idea totally eliminates a whole lot of stuff.
That's true.
You know, so you have ridicule from ignorant people, and then you have people who have a vested interest in things staying the same coming against you too, fueling that ridicule. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're going to fuel it because it destroys their livelihood. So, like you said, you're going to receive not just backlash, but lash, as I say. Because you're going to get lash from your friends, because that's not backlash, because they have no vested interest. They have no they have no creative bone in their body. They just want to keep doing things the way they're doing it.
Sure.
And the fact that you want to break away from what you all have been doing all this time, they're going to lash you with their tongues. So you get lash and backlash. So but in order to be a genius, you have to be willing to be viewed as crazy. You have to be willing to just say, you know what, I want to create something that does not exist, and whether you all say it can work or not, I'm going to make that happen. But that takes a level of emotional mastery, which is what we were talking about, emotions, that a lot of people aren't willing to do, because it hurts a lot when your family looks at you and says, you can't do that, because they know you.
Right.
And your friends don't back you because they know you. So not getting angry, but staying focused and controlling that emotion and using the proper perspective or perception and getting the emotion to drive and push through is imminent in order to change our lives. So,
That's like refocusing.
Yeah.
We're talking about focusing, and it's taking those emotions and those feelings and focusing them into the proper place, you know, and really utilizing for true transformation. And you were talking about feelings, and that was so true, because nothing gonna happen unless you feel it. If you ain't feeling it, it ain't happening. It's just a thought floating around in the ocean of thoughts. But until you attack it with a feeling, then it will reproduce.
Absolutely. You're 1,000% right, because nothing happens until you put that emotion behind it, because emotion is the electricity that creates the action.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is just think about when you're working out. You know, when you get psyched up, you can really, really do some stuff. But if you walk in there flat, oh man, please, you're ready to quit after the first 5 minutes. So emotion, again, is the force that drives all of that. So we have to learn how to channel the proper emotion to create the action that we need, or the decision that we need to take the action, I should say.
Right.
So I think Brother Sean got something you want to add, or sis, you go ahead. You can elaborate more on emotion if you want to. Or,
I think it definitely, like you said, is the electricity that drives the idea engine. You know what I mean? Engine is useless without some kind of power to act upon it to energize it. So you have to energize it with your emotions and your passion. You know, or I call it anytime I get a compelling idea, I just think about it all the time. It's in my consciousness. I dream about it. I wake up thinking about it. It's compelling. It's something worth waking up for. You know what I mean? You know, when I get up, I'm like, what's another way I could think about this idea? You know, what's another way I could? So I'm constantly. I can tell when it's the right idea for me, because I can't stop thinking about anything else, and I feel optimistic and joyful and just alive. You know, nothing like feeling alive and in the game. You know what I mean? And you know, success, seeing it come about, seeing an idea come into reality is very, you know, it's beautiful. You know, it's like seeing a baby come from a seed all the way to a real live baby you're holding. You know, and emotion and passion is what ends up creating all those things.
That's very true. That is a very true statement, because passion is what will sustain it. If you're passionate about it, you know, it will sustain, because you don't want to get away from it. You can't get away from it, because you're very passionate about it. So, Miss Nikki, I'll let you weigh in, and then I'll say, so good Lord, our time goes so quick because we can never coordinate this exactly at the right time, but that's all right. We're at 8:30. We're gonna make sure you make your Walking Dead. We're gonna make sure you get there, Nikki. So,
I don't know if I have a lot to add, because I kind of missed out. We had a little situation on this end, so I missed. I missed some of the things, so I apologize.
All we're talking about is emotion, and how emotion drives our decisions, and
okay.
So,
now with that said, I agree. I was listening to what Sean said, and I do agree. You know, as far as like when you have that idea, that aha moment, you know, how it's just something. It's almost like at that moment a seed is being planted, and then, you know, your emotions begins to water it. And for me, you know, and like you were saying, you know, that's something that I began to think about, and all of a sudden I began to nurture it and grow it in my mind first, and then, you know, and the more you grow it in your mind, the more excited you get, and that's where that emotion part plays into it. And then it's all about you know, it's all about how, you know, how can I you know, take it from the seed that was planted, and how can I take it from it being within and bringing it out. And that's part of that passion you were talking about, Gerald. You know, having the passion and having the motivation. So you need all these things, or all these pieces that you have to put together to get it from you know, the seedling to a full blown, whatever it is, a full blown Google or a full blown Apple company. You know, it's all, you know, it's all about. Did you want to say something?
No, I was listening to you. I said you're right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. My daughter is sitting on the floor right here. She raised her hand like she wanted to say something. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah. So you know, I that's what I wanted to add. You know, I mean, emotion, you know, plays a big part. Sometimes that's that you know, that big motivator for you.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Emotion is it's the engine, it's the energy that drives the ship. Passion will sustain it. It's kind of like, I guess I look at them like the alternator and the battery in a car. You know, the emotion will be your battery. It starts the car. You know, but what actually runs the car, and sustains the electricity once it starts is the alternator. So
Right.
I would look at passion as being like the alternator for whatever it is you're doing, whatever decision that you made. So I would definitely concur with that. We are really already at 8:30 plus. I think Mr. Smith was about to join us. I don't know. I would love to have his input and hear what he has to say on this. But our time has dwindled pretty fast. So all right. Anybody want to have any closing thoughts? Because we're like at 8:35 already. So anybody have any closing thoughts they would like to close with about decisions? And then I will say my piece, and I will let everybody that's Walking Dead fans get to their zombies, because I don't want to get turned into one. So
another
Calling us out, right?
yeah, exactly. Don't hurt me. You know, don't hurt me. I'm a nice guy. So I will start with Miss Nikki, because you just finished and now you get to go first. See,
Closing remarks.
Yes. Anything you have to say about decisions or just anything that's been going on. So
just to make it short and sweet, but you know, it's just all about growth and maturity. You know, it's all about you know, learning from the decisions that you've made in the past, you know, good and bad, and taking from that to help grow you to the next level. So it's all part of your growth process. I look at it, and hopefully at the end, you know, you've learned how to make better decisions to better yourself in all areas of your life.
awesome. Awesome. Look at you, all short and sweet. Like you daggone Franklin. I'm sorry, Theodore Roosevelt. Stand, be brief, be heard, be seated. That you just come, you just drop it and roll out, huh? That's you like to drop the mic. You like to drop the mic on the seat. All right.
Until next week.
All right. I will let Sis come on next, and then I'll let Brother Sean say his words, and I will say my piece, and then we will get to the rest of our evenings. Go ahead, Mr.
All right. So decisions and staying focused is just remembering from me and to share with others is that your mind is like a garden. If you don't tend to it, then you're going to be having all these weeds mixed into your thought process that you don't want. And remember, you are the one that creates your life. You're the one who says how I want it to be. And so always remember that your thoughts should always be for the highest good, not always just about you, but who else is around you, who's it going to affect. So doing your AMP, your appreciation, your meditation, your prayer, those are part of pulling the weeds that you have to do when you have a garden. So
Yes, absolutely.
Tend to your garden of your mind.
Amen.
All right, look at her dropping jewels. You gonna drop jewels. All right, Brother Sean, come around now, cool. Come around.
Well, the analogy I like to think of when I think of having that emotion, like I told you earlier, it's the electricity of the whole process of making things happen. And what I learned in electricity school was that a circuit is either normally closed or normally open. And to me, you have to stay normally closed. And the way to do that is to, like Lisa said, use your amp. If you are consistent with your amp and your meditation, your prayer, your appreciation, life is going to open up your circuits, and you're not going to have the flow going through you. So always very important to be aware of if the electricity is flowing properly through your circuit, which is your emotions, your mind, and your will, and you staying on a higher level of circulating the power. And we can call it love too. That love is all circulating, and it is electrifying and driving your life, driving your decisions, and driving your possibilities. But life can come and trip your circuit. And if you're not aware, you can go months with your circuit tripped. And you're going to find your life just going in all different directions because your circuit is tripped. And you could get busy, you can get going on doing something, and you start forgetting to do your amps and stuff. And all of a sudden, your circuit gets tripped. And you're not having that flow anymore. So it's very important to just be aware to keep your flow, your emotions, and electricity of that power going through you constantly. That's and doing the amp keeps you focusing and locked in. You keep that circuit normal, totally closed, so that the flow could flow. Because nothing's happening if the circuit's not complete. Nothing can happen. So that's my ending words. And let's introduce our leader.
Oh,
Here he comes. He's coming. He's coming. Here he comes. Here's Gerald.
You are a regular comedian. Oh man, I would like to first off thank everybody again for making the effort to actually be here again and share this time and this space and energy with one another to contribute to each other's lives and each other's prosperity. We all are looking to be better, do better, have better. So it's important that we get around people that are in that same modality, because we get enough of people that aren't in that modality, that want to pull us back to where we were or still look at us as we were, not realizing that we are becoming something greater and something better. So in closing with this evening's talk, I would just say that explore the things that go on in your head. Explore what's been driving you, what has gotten you where you are, and look at it for what it is, not worse than it is, but what it has gotten you. And then I implore you to see things better than they are, because the compelling future is what ultimately gives us the emotion that we need to be able to live. If we don't have that compelling future, then we hold ourselves back because we have nothing to strive for, and we all have a need to grow. And growth is essential in happiness. Yes. You will never feel fulfilled if you don't feel you're growing and being better, which is why when most men retire, they die. And it's just honest. Most men say, "Oh, I can't wait to retire." I thought about it. I said, "I want to retire at 30," and then I heard that. I said, "No, I don't want to retire at 30. I don't want to retire at 30." So, but no, just honestly, explore what's driving you. Explore what has gotten you the results that you have been getting. Right. Albert Einstein said, "You can't solve today's problem with today's current level of thinking. That can only be solved with tomorrow's thinking." Right. So what we have done thus far has gotten us exactly where we are. And if we continue in that modality, we will continue to be in the same place. So examine what we're focusing on, what's driving us. Find a way to find the proper emotion that you need in order to push you to go to that next level, because we all need you to be at that next level, because we're all here to contribute our own special piece to humanity. So that being said, I guess we get ready to wrap this thing up. We're at 8:43. I'm not going to talk you guys' head off. We've had enough of an adventure for this evening. Everybody that hasn't registered, you can go to thenewwealthorder.com and go ahead to the events page and click on the Live Your Dreams workshop, which is next Saturday. We're looking forward to that. We will be back here next Sunday and probably just be doing a recap on what actually happened at the event, because I'm thinking we're going to have a lot of fun there on Saturday. So everybody can go do that, and until next week, know we choose what type of life we have by the choices that we make. So I hope you guys choose to be exceptional. I will see you guys next Sunday.
All right. Amp it up. All right. Amp it up.
Amp it up. Amp up your life.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.